Yeah.
And welcome to the 94 by 50 podcast brought to you
Can you
by
hear me?
Ilya Kurbanov. Today we have, I can hear you, I can hear you. We have Mike Roach of the Mike Roach podcast,
Good.
plus the Toronto Raptors television broadcast assistant, working as well with OXP Media alongside me and a few other gentlemen. How you doing today, Mike?
I'm good, bro. I'm good. How's it going, my man?
Not bad, not bad. Just like you, we're in a shutdown out in Halifax too. We had a spike in cases, so probably just in the same
Yeah.
situation. But basketball, the
Oh, yeah.
Raptors, back-to-back losses, man. It must be rough for a Raptors fan. I know what it's like. We lost five straight before we took two in a row as Portland Trailblazers. But let's talk about those losses. What do you think did not go well for the Raptors?
Well, there's a few things. There's not much consistency when it comes to the lineup, first and foremost. There's always a bunch of guys in or out of the lineup. Fred Van Vliet was the last guy now who didn't play in the last game. Things would probably be a lot worse if Kimburch didn't sign with the Toronto Raptors, but I mean, it's not going to be any easier in the next few games. You got Utah coming up on Saturday night, and then you got Lakers following them, and then there's still a few more tough games after that as well. But overall for the Raptors, I mean, it's just been a weird and tough season. All you're not playing in your home arena. Like I said, guys have been out for injuries, and then guys have also been out due to the health and safety protocols due to COVID. So it's just been a really tough year for the Raptors. They're battling strictly right now for that plane game. Um, it's not looking good there either. I mean, they still have a few games to go. I think they got 9 games left on the season, but they're, I believe, 2.5 games in back of Washington now. And Washington has picked it up, and now they're doing a lot of winning. So if they're going to make the playoffs, I doubt it. It's still possible, but it's been a rough season.
But yeah, like you said, the injuries have played a huge role for the Raptors, considering that now Chris Boucher is updated to out indefinitely. Sharms Karania tweeted that out a couple of days ago. And with Gary Trent Jr., who they acquired through trade deadline, trading Norman Powell to Trailblazers, and he had a leg contusion. And, on and off, Kyle Lowry and Van Vliet were out, like you mentioned, and playing in Tampa away from home, actually, is playing a huge toll. But going back to those two next games they playing the Utah Jazz, who are the number one defensive team in the league. And then LeBron James is coming
Mm-hmm.
back on Sunday against the Raptors as well. So it's not gonna help them. Let's put it that way. But what do you expect for them to do in order for them to win those games? What's gonna need to happen?
Well, first and foremost, you're going to have to be disciplined on the defensive end. Everybody's going to have to be talking. Everybody's going to have to be communicating, and there's going to have to be accountability. Guys are they yes, it is a team game, but at some point, you have to be able to take on the task of being able to somewhat keep your man in front of you consistently. Now, that is a very tough thing to do, especially when you're going up against good rosters. But it's always defensively where you want to try to win a basketball game first. Lots of guys in the NBA can score, but not everyone can play good defense. Okay, so that's what they need to focus on. They have to rebound, they have to be tough, they have to be physical, and they need good shot selection. They got to get the ball running in transition if they can. You have guys like Pascal Siakam, OG Ananobi, okay, and those guys are really good in finishing in transition. All right, Kyle Lowry is still playing at a very high level. He's going to have to make shots. He's going to have to take some shots as well. He's going to have to be offensively aggressive. Okay, so Kimburch has been a big surprise and a big help for the Raptors. I don't think anybody thought he would be playing this well right now. Um, I mean, I'm sure people thought he would be a bit of an upgrade to Aaron Baines, but I don't think anybody did this. You know what I mean? So offensively, your shot selection has to be on point. Has to be on point, especially when you just mentioned that they're going up against the best defensive team in the league. It's not going to be easy, but you're going to have to score the basketball if you want to beat Utah because they can score in bunches and they can score quickly. They have some good shooters on that roster, and they will light you up quickly. You got to be on fire at times. So the Raptors got to be sound on both ends. I mean, I know that's not like breaking news or anything, but to be able to beat a team like Utah, who I believe is first in the league with their record right now, you got to be sound on both ends, and you got to be physical.
Absolutely, totally agree. And to add to that point, like you said, Utah Jazz got the sharpshooters. There's a reason why they are number one team in assists per game as well, moving that ball, finding the open guys, and allowing them to, knock down those open jumpers. Nonetheless, going back to Kimburch, like you said, nobody expected him to play the way he did. Nobody expected him to show up and take Toronto by storm. But what impressed you the most so far in his performance? Because I've noticed in the game against not Denver but Cleveland. Sorry, he had a great double-double performance. Then against Brooklyn, he had another double-double performance with 14 rebounds. And then yesterday, he did a great job once again running the transition, getting the boards, and trying to defend around the basket as well. Mike? So it looks like Mike got caught off, so we're just gonna wait till he comes back and see what's going on. I am dealing with a few technical difficulties, unfortunately. Be Live is the streaming platform that I'm using, and Facebook and Be Live both are going through some technical difficulties that they are trying to fix. As I see on my page, Facebook is experiencing major issues at the moment. Currently, this destination is not available for streaming, and the engineers are working on fixing that issue. But nonetheless, if anything, I will make sure to post this episode on YouTube and Facebook pages after the episode is recorded, of course, and try to get this out for you. If you can't watch it live, I am so sorry, and I apologize for that. So Mike seems to have been disconnected. I'm just getting a message from him right now. Let's see what's going on. Yeah, so he's not sure what happened either. We're going to try to get him in here as soon as possible. But in the meantime, Toronto Raptors have been impressive. They have been playing well, even without Chris Boucher, who's been out for the Raptors, and Garrett Trent, who's been out of the lineup, and like we mentioned, Kyle Lowry and Fred VanVleet, who have been on and off a few times during the season. It's going to take a lot of basketball and a lot of discipline, like Mike said, to get those wins. They are 2.5 games behind the 10th place, that belongs to Washington Wizards at the moment, but that could change anytime. They've been playing red hot, and they can move up in the Eastern Conference standings like nothing. With Russell Westbrook being on fire, he's on a hot streak. He's had, I believe, 12 triple doubles in the last 15 games, which is phenomenal. He's once again averaging a triple double per game this season, so it's gonna be one of those historical seasons. And there's Mike. Mike is back. Let's get him going, and you will be in just about now. Mike is back. But all yeah, right. I don't know what happened either. Honestly,
not sure what the hell happened, but I'm back.
There you go.
And the connection's a lot better this time.
There we go. So yeah, literally right as you were cutting off, I asked you about Kimburch, and I'll repeat the question obviously because you weren't present, but nonetheless, going back to Kimburch conversation and you saying how impressed you are with his performance, I'm sure you're not the only one, and it's all over the place. I hear the announcers talk about Birch's ability to run up and down the floor, be on the same page with Kyle Lowry on the pick and roll action or the backdoor cuts. And like you said, he's been performing. He had a double-double against Cleveland. Then he had a double-double against Brooklyn. I believe it was 14-14 on the glass. And then he played great yesterday despite, having to guard Jokic for the majority of the game, who is a tremendous playmaker. Probably will take the MVP awards this year with the way he's playing and not missing any games. But what impresses you the most about Kimburch's performance?
I think what I love about Kimburch the most is that he plays under control. He doesn't force anything. He never tries to do too much. He just lets the game come to him, right? And I love his poise. He gets in the game. He rebounds. He kicks the ball out. He doesn't force anything and try to go up. He'll get it back out to the guards. He'll set up the offense again. He runs the floor hard. He can block shots. He's physical. He's athletic. I mean, he'll dunk all game. He'll just finish around the basket. He didn't try to settle for outside shots. Like, he knows what his bread and butter is. He actually made 2 threes against Denver, and I think he's been making them more now that he's been playing for the Raptors. But overall, I just don't understand for the life of me how this guy was not playing in Orlando. It just makes no sense to me. I'm confused by it. I don't get it. I mean, I'm happy he plays for the Raptors now, but how he was not playing in Orlando. I mean, this guy's career high before that was 15 points. 15 points. He looked like he scored 20 points without even trying yesterday, barely. So I don't know what the hell was going on in Orlando, but I'm happy the Raptors scooped him up because the guy clearly knows how to play.
Well, I feel like there have been a lot of things going on in Orlando since Dwight Howard left that organization, but that's for another conversation. But yeah, like you said yesterday, even he doesn't settle for jumpers because that's not his game. But then knocks down a wide open one if it's given to him, and catching those lobs, and like you said, getting the boards, the offensive rebounds. And his performance has been stellar for the Raptors. That helps them, obviously, whether they make it or not. It's a great look for them in the future. And the center that they're actually have been looking for all season long after losing Ibaka is finally there. But let's talk about another young gun in Malachi Flynn, who has been everything off the bench as a point guard. Once again, what impresses you the most, him coming in as a rookie and doing what he has been doing for the past few games?
Honestly, the thing I love about Malachi Flynn the most right now is just his defensive tenacity. He really knows how to get right up on you, force the ball out of your hand, force his defender to make a pass or make a play. He doesn't back off of you and give you time to figure out, make decisions for the opposing player's teammates, right? He'll get right up on you, pressure the ball, get a 5-second count going, make sure the ball gets moved, just making sure that he applies that pressure. He can play 94 feet defense. That's what I love about him the most. He can shoot the ball. He's not afraid. He can play make as well. He could just do a little bit of everything. He honestly reminds me of Fred VanVleet. You know what I mean? It's funny to actually watch, but just his ability to shoot the ball and play defense right now are the things that I love about him the most. Those are the 2 things that are glaring to me when you look at Malachi Flynn.
And another thing, like you said, with Kimburch, like he doesn't force anything. He just lets the game come to him. I find the same thing Flynn, especially yesterday when he had the bigger guy on him. He knows what to do. He can pull it up. He can go to the basket. He knows how to play. He's a guard. He's been phenomenal for San Diego State University past years, and now he's been doing what he's supposed to be doing with the Raptors as well. But with
And
the
like you said,
current, yeah,
and like you said as well, he doesn't settle. He goes to the basket, and he can finish. He's really good at finishing around the basket, and he knows how to use his body to his advantage in the air. He has good body control.
exactly, high IQ and great playmaking ability, of course. Talking about the Raptors here, Mike and I on the 94 by 50 podcast. Thank you for all who are tuning in and who will be able to watch this later. But how high are the chances for the Raptors to make it, in your opinion?
Not that high. It's really not that high because let me tell you something. You know you're in a tough situation when you not only have to win, but you now need another team to lose. You know what I mean? So now it becomes out of your control. If it's in your control and you just have to win games, well, that's great. But now you need to win games and you need Washington to lose as well. You need Chicago to lose as well because Chicago is there as well. So that's what makes it extremely difficult. Now, I've been watching some of the games from the Washington Wizards, and I mean, Bradley Beal is taking no prisoners at this point. I mean, this guy is going off. Like, he's just dropping buckets. Like, bucket
No
after
mercy.
bucket after
No mercy.
no mercy. And we all know Russell Westbrook. I mean, that guy is just getting triple-double after triple-double after triple-double. I mean, I don't know how he does it. I've never seen anything like it before. But the Raptors, they can make it. They can make it. There's going to be something that's key, that's crucial for them. They have a game soon, I believe, where let me check the standings here. But I believe that they're going to be going up against Washington. They're going to be playing Washington soon. And that is the game. That's a full game swing when they go against Washington. They win and Washington loses. That's a full game swing. They have to win that game. They have to win that game. Like there's no if and or buts. If you're going up against the Wizards and that's the team that you're trying to catch to get into that playing game, when you go up against the Wizards, especially when it's 2.5 game difference at this point, not only do you have to win all these damn games, you have to beat them. Because if you don't beat the Wizards, it's over. It's over. That's another full game right there in the standings. Not a half game from a win or a loss. That's a full game. So to me, the chances are getting slimmer and slimmer, especially when you look at who their next few opponents are. But there is a possibility. But I'm telling you right now, it ain't looking good.
Yeah, and the fact that, like you mentioned, there is a possibility. I feel like there will be a stretch where teams will start resting players for the playoffs, right? We've seen that in the past. We'll see it in the future. We'll continue to see it till there's no more basketball. It's the reality. It's you don't want to get your players hurt. And like you said, they have a game against Washington, but they also have a game against the Pacers, who will be playing without Miles Turner. And they will be playing Chicago Bulls, who are currently 11th, 2 games behind Washington. And there's only 1 game between Washington and the Pacers. And as we saw from this past game, the Pacers lost to the Trailblazers by a mile. And that was a Trailblazers team that was coming off a cold streak. They could not win games. They couldn't close out games. They couldn't find a break. So that's the opportunity for them right there, hoping that they'll lose more in the upcoming games that they have. They will have a slight easier schedule. They will face the Kings. They'll have the Hawks, who are playing without Trae Young. And they'll play the Cavaliers, but their last game of the season will be against the Raptors, and that could be the pivotal one.
Yes.
What do you think of the Pacers? Like, because Washington, we know what we can expect from Washington because they have Bradley Beal and they do have Russell Westbrook. But then with the Pacers, they
Mhm.
have Brogdon, but then you don't have your tower inside to defend the paint.
You mean Sabonis or sorry, not Sabonis.
Turner.
Turner. Yes,
Turner.
Turner. Yeah, he's key for that team too. You know what? I actually really like the Pacers when they're healthy. Like to me, Domantas Sabonis is like stud central. Like that's
Phenomenal.
a guy like Sabonis knows how to play. I love Sabonis. Like I'm talking good stroke, knows how to use both hands, heavy lefty, but he's crafty. His footwork is amazing. Dude is super physical. Okay, he's a flat out just bruiser, a banger who has skill, can pass the ball, can rebound the ball. Like Sabonis he's an animal. Like I
Sounds
mean, I'm
like
telling you.
if his father was a beast.
Oh, listen. I'm telling you, yo. Let me tell you, our Vitas Sabonis. Yo, I'm telling
Elite.
you,
Legend.
he was playing on those Portland Trailblazers. I'm telling you, that was a man who knew how to dish the rock. I'm telling you, through the legs, behind the head, everything. I mean, he was an animal. But they got McDermott, Holiday, O'Shea Brissett is another guy who just signed a deal with that team. He's playing really well. He's fitting right in. Um, McConnell, Levert is playing well, and Brogdon is key. Like Brogdon is a really good player, good point guard. Always plays under control. Can shoot the ball a bit, can get to the basket, can find his teammates, can D up a bit. The Pacers are an interesting team. I don't know if I'm sold on them because they have some injuries and guys are not in the lineup. But if guys are in the lineup, I'd be a lot more confident for the Indiana Pacers, but I wouldn't sleep on them. I'll tell you that.
Okay.
Karis LeVert's a guy who can explode as well. And you don't know when it's going to happen, but he's a guy who can put 40 on you.
We've seen it before. Last year's bubble almost ended
Yeah.
Portland's, playoff dreams.
Yeah,
After that,
exactly.
Dame dropping 50 after 50 after 50, it's like you put all this work in and you end up not making a playoffs. That would hurt. But
Yeah.
it was not and he almost, draining that dagger, hitting the back rim, just bounces off and that's it, game over.
Almost did
But,
it.
we know what LeVert can do overall. We've seen it with Brooklyn. We've seen, there's no secret to it.
He's dangerous.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But let's talk about a little bit the playoff picture. What do you see even, as we get closer to, the NBA playoffs? Who do you see coming out the East this year?
Right now, I have Brooklyn coming out the East. So right now, I'm looking at the standings, and if, if we say Philly goes up against Miami, I'm not sure if Philadelphia wins that series. I'll be honest with you. I'm not sure Philadelphia beats Miami in a 7-game series. I'm just not confident on that. The Milwaukee Bucks would be playing the Boston Celtics in the first round if it started today. I'm not sure Milwaukee comes out of the first round.
You're not sure even with Drew Holiday?
Even with Drew Holiday, I'm not sure they come out the first round. There's nothing that scares me about the Milwaukee Bucks. Like the Greek Freak, we know he's going to get his numbers and he's going to put in work. He's going to do damage. But it's all about the closing to me. What's going to happen in the fourth quarter? I'm still not sold on them. I'm just still not sold on them. Like I'm not saying that they can't win the series, but Milwaukee, for them to be able to beat the Boston Celtics in the first round, that's going to be a tough matchup, a really tough matchup. Like Brooklyn right now in the first round will be playing against the Hornets. That's a sweep. Okay, that's a sweep. We don't even need to talk about that. Okay, but this is an interesting one. This is a very interesting. The 4-5 matchup right now. The Knicks and the Hawks. That's a playoff matchup I would like to see.
Oh, for sure.
That's a playoff matchup I would like to see because I'm not sure which way that goes. I'm not sure. Like the New York Knicks, they are the definition of a Tom Thibodeau team. I'm talking about hard nosed, gritty, defensively in your face, rebounding. You're trying to go up, you're getting elbowed, you're probably losing 2 teeth. Okay? That's one thing. But when it comes to the Atlanta Hawks, it's almost like a defense versus offense thing here. Okay? Trae Young will be in the lineup when the playoffs start. We know what he can do. But then you got this young brother, Bogdan Bogdanovic. Okay? And let me tell you something right now. If you ain't careful, he gonna light you up quickly.
Can't leave him
Okay?
open.
Bogdan, he ain't playing any games. I'm telling you that right now. You leave that brother open, he gonna light you up. I guarantee it. Okay? But then you have these other guys. Lou Williams is another guy who's in the lineup now. He's gonna make shots. John Collins is a nice piece as well. Physical, can jump out the gym, can shoot it a little bit. But then you also have guys. I don't know what's going on with Cam Reddish. I don't know where the hell he's at. I don't know what he's done all season. But Clint Capella is also another nice piece that they have in that lineup. Solomon Hill's a guy that they have in the lineup. He's a little bit of a journeyman, but he can do a little bit of everything when he's out there. Their team isn't bad. Like they can give a good run against the New York Knicks, but that one's up in the air to me. I think it's almost like a 50-50. What do you think about that series?
Honestly, I think the same way. It's going to be the defense versus offense, obviously. It's going to come down to who really wants it more. And we've seen constantly this year where the New York Knicks just comes in. They do have, I believe they're either, I think they are number one in the opposing points per game on the regular season. And they gave it to everyone. You didn't have many teams that just came in and blew the Knicks up like we've seen the past 3-4 years. You know, it's not the same Knicks anymore. It's not.
No.
You know, after they traded and started after they traded Porzingis and started rebuilding that whole process and now hiring Thibodeau, you know, even look at Julius Randle.
He looks like an MVP candidate.
Exactly.
I didn't even know he was.
You know, and that's the Julius Randle we all seen at Kentucky years ago. That was the Julius Randle
100%.
we expected to see with the Lakers, but then injuries.
Yeah, 100%. This is what we thought he could do.
Exactly, right? And now he's doing it. Exactly,
he's doing it.
So it's one of those guys that you can expect. He's gonna come in, and you can't tell me he can't give work to Capella. You can't tell me he can't give work to Collins. He'll just body them inside. He'll out-dribble them. Like, all he wants Capella to just guard him on the perimeter. And it's going to be ice rink. It's not going to be a basketball floor. It's going to be
shooting it from the outside.
That's exactly what it is. And then you have RJ Barrett, who's been playing phenomenal after not playing half a year last year with the injuries. And, you know, Derrick Rose, the Thibodeau's guy, man. You know, I'm so happy to see them back together. You know, it's like
if Tom Thibodeau went to play or coach, if Tom Thibodeau went to Idaho to coach in a YMCA men's league, Derrick Rose would be on the team.
Exactly.
Like anywhere he goes, he makes sure he has Derrick Rose. And watching Derrick Rose, I think we're all starting to understand why. Like Tom Thibodeau doesn't go anywhere without Derrick Rose. He had him in Chicago. He went to Minnesota. He got him in Minnesota. He's in New York, and now it's the first chance he gets, he brings him in right away. And I mean, we're really beginning to understand why Derrick Rose. I mean, how many games has Derrick Rose played for the Knicks? 15 games, they said right now. Dude's averaging like 14 a game.
That's solid, for a veteran who
Four,
sadly went through all those injuries, but now just playing a game of basketball,
Dude, they're solid, man. The Knicks are solid, and you said it before. You're absolutely right. This ain't the same Knicks team anymore.
It's not.
This is not the same Knicks team, man. You just watch these guys. You see how hard they play. They don't take any stupid, ridiculous shots like they used to. They can actually defend. Just the culture. The culture. Tom Thibodeau did what he had to do, and that's from the day he came in to be the coach. He changed the culture of the team.
Exactly. And now switching quickly to the Western Conference, we've been talking, and that was up in the air. It's Clippers, Lakers. Clippers, Lakers. What are your thoughts?
I still have the Lakers, but the Clippers. I mean, damn it, they have a good roster. We know that. It's going to come down to, is Paul George going to be shooting basketballs off the side of the backboard? Because what I saw against Denver in that fourth quarter in the bubble, Ilias, I don't know what the hell that was.
Sure, we're not made baskets, so.
This is Paul George we're talking about. He didn't score. Okay? You're up 3-1 in the series. You have Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, who came up with donuts in that fourth quarter. That's mind-blowing stuff. I don't know how to think after that again. Because anytime I think of the Clippers, stuff like that happens. And then I just, there's a part of me that just can't trust the Clippers. To me, they always find a way to just screw it up. Almost like the curse is real.
Exactly.
I don't know what to say about them anymore. I don't know what to say about them. They have a fantastic roster. I mean, getting Rondo in there, having Man.
Huge pickup. Huge.
I mean,
they needed someone to run that offense.
Yeah.
They needed someone
you need somebody. But, it's just, honestly, it's going to come down to, Luke Kennard is playing great. But Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, I don't know. As of right now, I'm still taking the Lakers. I'm skeptical about Anthony Davis and his health. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if his injury is more severe than they're leading us on to. So we'll see how these last 10 games end up for Anthony Davis. I'm sure he probably won't play all 10, and even if he does play all 10, it won't be heavy minutes, probably because they're going to be saving everything he has in the tank around the playoffs. Same thing with LeBron. LeBron's supposed to be back in the lineup against Toronto Raptors on Sunday. We'll see what's going on with him. I'm sure he's going to be in good health or he wouldn't come back in the lineup. He probably won't play heavy minutes either. But if those guys are healthy, I'm not going against LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Are you kidding me? No. I'm just not going to do it.
What are your thoughts of the Suns?
Really, really like the Suns. I like how they play. I like CP3. I think he is also a candidate for MVP. I don't think he'll win it, but he's definitely a candidate the way he turned that organization around with Devin Booker and some of the other pieces that they have. They have a good roster, man. They got a good roster. I got to pull up and check, they have DeAndre Ayton has been a really solid player on that roster. Guys don't talk about him a lot, but you have the Langston Galloways, the
Cameron Johnson.
Cameron Johnson, Mikal Bridges. There's one guy, Jay Crowder, as well. And I mean, Sarich, like they have a legitimate squad. Their team is good.
They have
Like,
guys that can play defense too. You gotta consider
insane.
that.
Like,
It's
they
like
got
it's
guys who
big.
can really D up. You know what I mean? They can really D up. And CP is one of those guys. If you're on the court and you ain't playing defense and you ain't doing what you're supposed to do, he's gonna get in your face. He's gonna get in your face. And listen, that kid that they have, Devin Booker, Lord have mercy. He'll put a 50 piece on you real quick if you ain't careful. Okay, Devin Booker. I'm telling you, he ain't playing around. Yes, that dude ain't playing around. I'm telling you right now.
Oh, I
Okay,
know.
so I mean, they're legit. They're legit. There's a few teams in the West that are legit to me. They're one of them. Lakers, Clippers, Phoenix, Utah, and if Jamal Murray was still in the lineup, I'd be talking a whole lot about Denver as well.
Yeah, Denver would be one of those. It's unfortunate that he went down like that with a torn ACL and out for the rest of the season and probably the first half of the next season as well. So wish him all the best, 100%. Speedy recovery.
That guy Joker, though. That guy Joker. I ain't seen nothing like that. I don't even know what to call that guy.
No, we haven't. We really haven't seen any of it, honestly.
Anything like this. This dude, Joker, he's on a different level. Like, he is on a different level. I mean, I don't know how he does it. Like, when he's running, he looks slow as molasses. And the footwork, the passes, the shooting, he does everything. He does everything. He can light you up from downtown. He will take you into the post and school you. He will flip it behind the head. He'll find people. He's not even looking at you. Behind his head. He's doing all kinds of crazy stuff. I've never seen anybody like this guy before.
No, I don't think it's
special. I've never seen this.
I feel like it's Jason Williams living in a huge body of a 6'11" center, just running around and playing basketball once again. It's unreal. It's unreal.
He's like one of the aliens from Space Jam. He's like a monster. I don't even know how else to put it. He's a monster.
It's insane. It's insane. Either way, Mike, I appreciate you joining me today at the 94 by 50 podcast. Give it up for Mike Roach of Mike Roach Podcast. Check him out. He's got great content for you guys on YouTube, OXP Media, on Instagram. Follow him at Mike Roach. Is it Mike_Roach? You say it.
So it's on Instagram, it's at Mike Roach 7. On Twitter, it's Mike_Roach_. And shout out to you too as well, Elias. You've been doing a lot, putting in work for OXP Media. You got your podcast going right now, so you're really doing your thing. You're getting your feet wet in the industry, and you're doing a great job. So I'm looking forward to seeing all the great things and content and everything that's going to be in store for you, because you got a really, really bright future going forward in this business, in this industry.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. It means a lot, honestly. Thank you. But yeah, once again, thank you, Mike. Thank you for tuning in, everyone. I'm sure you guys are going to see more of Mike and me if I have anything Raptors related, because he's the go-to guy for me, and he should be a go-to guy for you guys as well. Check him out at the Mike Roach Podcast once again. And for those who tuned in and stayed with us, thank you. For those who will see this podcast later on Facebook or YouTube at 94 by 50 Podcast, feel free to give it a follow, subscribe, comment if you like any questions, comment if you like anything about the content that I'm doing. Thank you once again, and remember to keep it simple, guys. Have a good one.
Peace.